Like and subscribe right now, or this spider will crawl on your face when you're sleeping. Cursed children's dolls are often the evil creatures at the center of many terrifying horror films. But they are just fiction, aren't they? Well, there are some reports from around the world of dolls that appeared to be cursed, causing their owners great upset. Keep watching to find out the tale of 4 different cursed dolls. Just don't watch this with any toys in the room. Number 4. Annabelle. Perhaps the most famous doll from horror films of old is the creepy red-headed Annabelle. The tale of Annabelle was first told in the horror film The Conjuring, which was released in 2013 and was retold in the movie Annabelle in 2014. Most people believed that Annabelle was a made-up character. However, she was actually a real doll who was purchased in 1970 by the mom of a college nursing student for her daughter's new home. Her daughter Donna placed the doll in her home but started to notice some strange little things happening. The doll would change angle slightly and end up looking in another direction, or it would fall on the edge of the sofa without anything pushing it. The weird behavior got worse when Donna's roommate moved Annabelle into her room and then went to take the trash outside, before coming back in and seeing it just sitting on the sofa in the living room. This began to make the roommates feel a little more paranoid, but they just put it down to a forgetful moment, giving the doll the benefit of the doubt. They could not ignore the next sign, however, as both girls began to discover notes handwritten in crayon in their apartment. The notes looked like they were written by a child and said phrases like, "Miss me?" when they left the apartment. Annabelle itself was found with a red crayon beside her, and no one else was in the apartment. Who else could have written it? At this stage, the girls believed that the doll was possessed by a child, and the haunting kept getting worse. Donna's boyfriend was staying over one night and reportedly made a jokey comment about the doll. The next day, her boyfriend woke up with claw marks across his chest and his shirt covered in blood. A few days later, he witnessed something even more terrifying. He walked into the bedroom and apparently saw the doll levitating in the air before it tried to attack him and strangle him. It was at this stage that Donna decided to seek help from experts in the paranormal, Lorraine and Edie Warren. These experts were famous due to their investigation of the Amityville horror house. After taking a look at the doll, they believed that it was possessed not by a child, but by a demon. The Warrens attempted to exorcise the demon, but could not manage it, so instead they took it and locked it up in their museum, which is full of cursed objects. This way, it was away from Donna and could not harm her anymore. This is definitely not a museum we'd like to visit. Number 3. Okiku. Up next at number 3 is a case that occurred at the end of the Second World War. A Japanese girl named Okiku was given a doll by her older brother as a gift from his trip visiting a marine exhibition. The doll was dressed in fancy clothing, had short black hair, and black eyes. Okiku played with the doll all the time, up until her unexpected death. The parents decided to keep the doll as it reminded them of her, but quickly noticed that the doll's hair seemed to be growing. They tried to cut the hair, but it just kept getting longer. The family ended up moving away from their house, so they gave the creepy doll to a local temple, where it still is today. The strangest bit of the tale? Scientists have discovered that the hair growing from the doll belongs to a young girl. And now, let us move into our subscriber pick of the day. This image was sent to us by a subscriber. Similarly, if you ever wish to know more about an image you come across, just send it to us. Who knows? We might even feature it in one of our videos. Now, most of you will recognize the doll on the right side of this picture if you are horror story fans. Chucky is the main character from the Child's Play film series. Our doll at number 2 is on the left-hand side of the picture and is the inspiration beside the Chucky character. Let's take a look. Number 2. Robert the Doll. Robert the doll first belonged to the Otto family in the late 19th century. Painter Robert Eugene Otto, or Jean for short, was given the doll when he was a child by his family's Haitian maid. His mother, Mrs. Otto, found out that the maid was practicing black magic in her garden and let her go. But before she left, she gifted Robert the doll to Jean. The family began to notice that the doll would move around the house without anyone moving him. but thought it was a coincidence. After a while, however, they became more concerned when they noticed that Jean was talking to the doll and a man's voice was speaking back. When asked who he was talking to, Jean would point at the doll. He became more scared of the doll and was often found hiding at the other side of the room from it, with his other toys ending up destroyed. At this stage, Jean's parents put the doll in the attic and forgot about him when they moved out. The new family that moved in found the doll and soon discovered that it was haunted, contacting the police as they were so scared. A sheriff drove to the house and waited for the family to get home so that he could investigate. When sitting in his car, he noticed the doll at the window staring at him, and then saw it turned around and walked away. He decided to investigate, and upon entering the house, he found the doll sitting at the bottom of the stairs. How creepy. What happened to Robert the doll? He was donated to a museum as the family wanted to get rid of it. He can still be visited today at the East Martello Museum in Key West. But don't get too close. You might hear him speak. Number 1. Joliet the Cursed Doll. And finally, taking our top spot today as the creepiest cursed doll in our list is Joliet. What makes her so sinister? Well, she passes a curse down to each generation of the same family. And what a terrible curse it is. The story goes that she curses the families so that the first male child that is born to each generation dies mysteriously a couple of days after birth. This has happened for 4 generations, leaving pregnant women terrified. The curse began with a woman who was given a doll from a person she knew who was jealous of her. The woman went on to give birth to twins, a boy and a girl, who were in full health. A few days later, the woman woke up to find that the male child wasn't breathing. He could not be saved, and it was a mystery as to what happened, as there was no obvious cause of death. The death was eventually put down to sudden infant death syndrome, which can be caused by brain abnormalities. This might have been believable if it was one generation, but it has impacted more than one person in the same family. The woman noticed that Joliet the doll was sitting in a chair, rocking it by herself while she giggled quietly under her breath. No one believed the woman that the doll had cursed her, instead believing that she was just stressed and unwell due to losing a baby. The doll continued to laugh, and the cries of a baby were also heard coming from it. Understandably, the woman was freaked out and decided to try and get rid of it. This wasn't successful, however, with the doll returning to the house every single time. The woman thought that she was going mad, as no one else believed that she could hear it crying. That was until her daughter grew up and heard it too. Eventually, the woman passed away, which might have led to the end of the doll's curse, but it was too strong. Her daughter fell pregnant and gave birth to twins as well, one boy and one girl. And you will never guess what happened. The male child passed away 3 days later, the exact same way as the original baby had. Joliet the doll began to sound even creepier after this. She still had the same laugh, but this time 2 crying voices came from it, now that 2 babies had died. The same curse affected her daughter, and their daughter after that, meaning that it killed 4 babies. How terrible. The screams and crying noises from the doll have only gotten worse and worse throughout the years, and the owners have no clue how to get rid of it. It just keeps coming back. Let's hope that experts work it out soon so that no more innocent children lose their lives to such a terrible curse. This tale is sure to give us nightmares. And that concludes our tale of horror stories and cursed dolls. Which one freaks you out the most? Let us know in the comment section below, and as always, don't forget to like and subscribe and click the bell icon to receive notifications for all our videos.